Hello and welcome back to my channel. This is the Bibliophile Doctorate, and if you are new to my channel, a very warm welcome. So to give an idea, in this channel I talk about everything bookish. So I'm very happy to be here with part 3 of the series that I'm doing of recommendation of book for getting you back to reading. So I have quite a few recommendation today, quite a few. And if you are new here, or if you have not watched the other two videos which I have in this series before, please go and watch them. I'll link it here or in the description below. So those videos are specifically for children's literature, because children's literature are very good point of getting you out of reading slump and or getting you into the habit of reading, as they are simple and with short chapters, and it actually gives you the joy of reading. Those are also the kind of recommendation you can look into if you want to find books to introduce to your children, so they can develop a habit of reading. So today I have books which are for not children's literature in particular. These are books which will help you get out of a reading slump very easily, and this had been chosen so that it is not very theme heavy, and even if it is a bit deep, the length of the books are chosen to be fine for our current attention span. If you are somebody who is looking to get into reading or get out of a reading slump, this video is absolutely for you. Please watch till then, because I have quite a few good recommendations today. So without further ado, let's dive into the recommendations. So the first book in recommendation is Eleanor Oliphant is Completely Fine. This is quite a popular book, and it is one of the books that personally helped me get out of a reading slump. So the story follows Eleanor, who lives a very predictable life. Like, it's almost as if it is rinse and repeat. Like, she wears simple clothes. She lives kind of an isolated life. She doesn't have many friends. She speaks with her mother sometimes over the phone, and she is somebody who doesn't take much off in her work, and is diligent worker. She's happy in her own way. She's leading life, but if you look closely, something seems off. And it was going fine for her. It was going as usual until she meets an engineer in her workplace, and together they help a old man on the streets. And from there, Eleanor's story slowly starts to take a turn. So this story has a very unexpected twist at the end. This is something which I didn't see coming, so it's a very interesting read, and you will find like how her life is not fine at the end. So if you are looking for something to keep you gripped and take you out of a reading slump, I think Eleanor can definitely help you there. So the next recommendation I have is a thriller. So if you are somebody who loves thriller and wants a good recommendation, and this is quite a popular book, and it is one of the book that I would say is a very good thriller. It is The Silent Patient, and this is one of the book which is very difficult to put down. There is always the anticipation of what happens next, and how the mystery gets solved. So the plot of the story is that the main protagonist, she shoots her husband. She was having a fine life, but she suddenly shoots her husband, and from that day she has not spoken a single word, and nobody knows what exactly happened in that particular day. So there is a criminal psychologist. He comes in and he is working with the protagonist, and he's trying to figure out what actually happened that day. But there is, again, like Eleanor, there is another twist, a very unexpected twist at the end of this book, which is actually going to make you stop and think what just happened. So this is one of the book that is going to grip you, that will not allow you to put this book down, and definitely a very good thriller to pick up if you are in a reading slump. So my next recommendation is following the genre of thriller, and this is a psycho thriller. So this is a classic by Robert Louis Stevenson, The Strange Case of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. So this is a psycho thriller where we meet the lawyer of Dr. Jekyll, and he runs into Mr. Hyde, whom he doesn't know, and Mr. Hyde comes at somebody who is very rude or weird and kind of a bit shady. So the lawyer actually talks to Mr. Jekyll, and when the lawyer reads the will of Mr. Jekyll, he kind of sees that Mr. Jekyll has left everything what he have to Mr. Hyde, and nobody knows who Mr. Hyde is, and he seems very suspicious. So the lawyer starts looking into it. He speaks to other friends of Dr. Jekyll and try to figure out who Mr. Hyde is. So this is such a psycho thriller. It is gripping. It is very small, so it's very generous. If you are struggling with your attention span and want something which is thrilling, which you can finish it in one day, and when you reach the final part, when the mystery is solved and you get to know who Mr. Hyde is, how he's related to Dr. Jekyll, and what the connection is, you would be thrilled. And it has a very deep wisdom of it will show us how we see people, and it will make us question. It's a very deep psychological thriller, and it is classic for a reason. So if you are looking for something which is thriller, classic, and in a psychological genre, so this is definitely the book that you should pick up. The next book which I have in my recommendation is another book in the psycho thriller genre. It is also a very small book, but it has a very deep feminist angle, so a very good amalgamation of both the genre. It is The Yellow Wallpaper by Charlotte Parkins Gilman. So it's a very short story. It's not even 30 pages long. So the story follows when the main protagonist, she and her husband moves into a new house, and she is confined into a room which has a yellow wallpaper with a certain kind of pattern in it. So how she spends her entire day, she doesn't have any books or anything to read or write, and she is confined, and slowly she starts hallucinating and seeing patterns, and as if somebody is moving behind the wallpaper. It is very gothic, very dark. It's a psycho thriller, and it's definitely a very deep feminist angle. So if you are looking for something short, feminist, gothic, psycho thriller, The Yellow Wallpaper is the perfect story for you, and it will also give you a glimpse of the lives of women in this particular era. It's a very good book, and it's one of my favorite stories which I have read. So if you're looking for anything in that combination of a genre, The Yellow Wallpaper is definitely for you. Continuing with our feminist literature, if you're somebody who wants another recommendation to feminist literature, or you are somebody who is trying to get into feminist literature, so this is a very short book of recommendation. It is by Adichie, We Should All Be Feminist. It's based on one of her talks that she gave, and it was later turned into a book. So it's a kind of a basic test where you can get an understanding of what is feminism, why it is very essential and still relevant at this day, and it's very simple language, and it's explained in a very simple manner, so it's very easy to understand, and I think this is one of the essential texts to understand feminism. So if you are trying to get into feminism, or you have not read this and you love feminist works, so this is something you should pick up. The next recommendation which I have is for people who love reading about space. But this is not only about space, this is also about your way of looking at the world. It is definitely going to change your way of looking into the world. So the book I'm talking about is the Booker Prize winner from 2024, Orbital by Samantha Harvey. This has become in recent times one of my favorite books of all time, and I think I have read it 3 to 4 times, and it is I annotated heavily because it made me think. It made me went inside. It made me think of how we are too myopic as humans. So the story follows, there are some astronauts and cosmonauts from various countries of the world, and they travel to the space station. They are staying there. They are researching on various things, on how life reacts into in space, and various projects that they have been given by their respective labs and institutes that they are part of. So when they're there, they kind of reflect back on the life on Earth or their lives, and they see the Earth in very different way, because when you are up on in space, there is a particular term for this effect which I can't recall at this moment. So when you see the space, you see the earth from the space, it seems that the borders, the kind of troubles we have, the day-to-day problems, or the kind of situations we humans are in, doesn't make any sense. It makes us so small and insignificant. It's like as if you are looking out, you are zooming out and looking earth and human life, and you realize how myopic we are. Like as humans, we feel we are the all important species on this earth or in this entire universe. So when you look at earth and you look at your life from space, your perspective definitely changes. So this is as somebody who loves reading about space, but this is also somebody who wants to explore new ways of seeing the world around you. It is very deep, very philosophical. It is going to make you think, even though it's very the length wise it's very small, but it is a very deep and heavy read, I would say. So if you are somebody who loves Studio Ghibli out and out and is absolutely Hayao Miyazaki fan, the next book is an ultimate paradise for you. It's Howl's Moving Castle, but don't confuse it with the howl of what we see on screen, because here the howl is actually an annoying, irritating kind of a wizard, and he is much more nuanced than the howl we see on screen. So for a Studio Ghibli fan, this is absolute joy to read this book, because you get to know other parts of the story which is not there in the movie. And this is one place where I feel both movie and books, they are excellent. They are kind of enmesh, yet they are kind of different, and you would eventually be able to enjoy both. And for those who don't know what Howl's Moving Castle is or have not watched the movie, so this follows Sophie, which is a hatter, and she is cursed by the wizard of waste, and she becomes an old lady. And there is this wizard called Howl, who is a very extremely good looking wizard, who is alleged that he steals the heart of young women and eats it. But as you read it, you will understand what it actually means. So this is almost in a fantasy world, very sweet, and it follows how Sophie goes and stays in this house, in the castle which House have, and it's a moving castle, it moves on its own. And then she meets Calcifer. By the way, I have Calcifer with me here, so say hi to Calcifer since we are talking about Howl's Moving Castle. So that's how the story flows, what happens when Sophie goes and stays there, and then a lot of nitty-gritties which are not there in the book. So it's a very good read and definitely a gem for Studio Ghibli fan. So the next book is another book which is very much in the vibe of Studio Ghibli. So this is one book which I randomly picked up in the airport, and I didn't know I would fall in love with this book. It is called The Girl Who Drank the Moon by Kelly Burnhill. So the plot of this book is that there is a village where when children are born, and it is one of the village which is very scared of this forest where a witch lives, apparently. The witch named Zan, she is actually a very benevolent witch, but the villagers have different idea about her. They're very scared of her, so they leave like just to protect their village. They and it's a very superstitious kind of belief they have. They leave some newborn children in the forest, and Zan comes and picks them up, feeds them starlight, which makes them very special, and puts them to other people in other town and village where couple want to have children but they're not able to have children. So, and they get a very beautiful life. So this is how the story works. So starts when you have these details, and then we meet Luna, who is the main protagonist of the story, and she's a girl who at her infancy is taken from her parents and left at the forest to protect the village. And Zan picks her up, but when she was feeding this, she was going to feed this child starlight, she mistakenly feeds this child moonlight, and makes her very powerful, much more powerful than this child is supposed to be. So that's how this Luna, how this journey continues of how she starts living with Zan and what happens afterwards. There is a small dragon in this, and then there is a swamp monster who is extremely wise. So when you read this, you will find the wisdom, just like, and the whimsical, the magical, the fantasy, almost like a Miyazaki Ghibli world. So if you are a Ghibli person, I think you are going to absolutely love The Girl Who Drank the Moon. Also will help you get out of a reading slump. The next book which I have in the recommendation is Man's Search for Meaning. So if you are somebody who is into Second World War literature, who is into looking at the life from a very positive angle, who wants to find hope, this is one book which is absolutely going to give you, because it's going to make you see at your problems, at the world, and give you that resilience, that grit to go past your trouble, and everything would be fine. Because Viktor Frankl wrote it. He is a Holocaust survivor, and he actually goes into the psychological analysis of what happens when you were he was and the others were in those camps, and how even in that circumstances they had the will to live, how they were making it, trying to make that, even that life bearable, and how he survived out of this. And it's a very I would say heartbreaking read, but it will give you so much of wisdom and make you look at the world in a little more hopeful and positive way. So if you are trying to look something which is philosophical, which is a bit historical, which is almost like a memoir, so you can definitely pick up The Man's Search for Meaning, because it's definitely going to make you a bit more hopeful that everything would be fine in the end. So my next recommendation is John Steinbeck's Of Mice and Men. This is also a very small book, so if you want something small that will help you get back to the reading, this is definitely one. It's a classic, and it's a classic for a reason. This has a lot. It will show you class struggle. It will show you how, if you were a bit different from the majority, how you might be treated, because there is this beautiful grown-up childlike man called Lenny, and it is sad. The story is sad, heartbreaking. I never thought that this small of a book can break me in such way, almost like break my heart. So this is enough of the story. It's a very heavy story, and it's a good entry into Steinbeck if you are trying to get into reading more of Steinbeck. So this is a very good entry point. And it might break your heart, but I would say it's an essential read to understand into a lot of these complexities which are there in the society. My next recommendation is The Birthday Girl by Murakami. So this is a very small book. It's perfect for anybody who wants to get into reading, because you see the size of the book and you see the thickness. It's like you can finish it in even half an hour. So if you want to get into Murakami's magical realist world, you can get a taste of this. So the main protagonist is a kind of a waitress or server in a hotel, and it's her birthday. So what happens, what kind of surprise she receives, and it's very whimsical, like it kind of is very typical Murakami. So this is a book you can definitely pick up if you want to get a taste of how Murakami writes, or something which can be finished within half an hour. So you definitely can pick it up. My last recommendation for today and the series is any novel by Agatha Christie, because who doesn't like a good murder mystery or a mystery novel, and it is a very good way of getting out of a reading slump. So I have quite a few Agatha Christie collection, and this one is a Hercule Poirot collection, and I am holding this because I wanted to recommend in particular The Dumb Witness. So this follows an old lady who has been murdered. So Hercule Poirot arrives, and somehow this lady has already written to him, because maybe she kind of he was suspicious about something like that might happen to her. And Hercule Poirot arrives, and he has its set of suspicion. But the main turning point in this is that the main witness, or a major witness, or a major clue in this novel, which is ultimately going to solve it, is a dog. And as you know, a dog can't speak. So how is Hercule Poirot going to use it and finally solve this mystery? That is how it flows. And obviously it has the Agatha Christie flair. It has her magic of this mystery writing. And it's a perfect way to get out of a reading club, and it's just The Witness because I loved this story. But you can pick up any of her book, of her stories, like Murder of the Blue Train, After the Funeral. Like there's a lot of it, and also like her series on Miss Marple is there. So if you're a Miss Marple fan, you can pick up any Miss Marple novel, or if you're a Hercule Poirot fan, you can pick up any of his series. So yeah, that was all what I had for today. So if you have liked this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel, and don't forget to go and watch the part 1 and part 2 of this series. And I'll come up with more series with more recommendation on different genre of reading very soon. And let me know how you like the video, which book out of all these recommendations you are going to pick up, and if any of these books you have already read or is among your favorite, do let me know that as well. So thank you for spending such a long time with me. I hope you have liked all the recommendations, and please do like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.